Well, everybody, I've never come on to Rocky before in the Eye of the Tiger, but welcome everybody, and it's lovely to see you all here today at LGfL Let's Celebrate Conference Part 2. I'm Dave Smith, Head of Partnerships and Events at the British Educational Suppliers Association, BESA, and I'm delighted to be your MC throughout the day today. So, before we start, the conference in earnest, there are a few housekeeping announcements that need to be made. So just going to go through a few of these things and then we'll get on to the main business of the day. So folks, in terms of emergency evacuation procedures, there are no fire alarms, you'll be pleased, planned for today. But if there are, the etc. venue staff will direct you if we need to evacuate the building, but please be aware of where the evacuation points are throughout the building today. So please familiarise yourself with those escape routes, and if you have any access needs specifically today, speak to any colleagues from LGfL or in the red shirts, as you can see. The assembly point is Exchange Square, which is accessed via the Great Eastern Walkway should we need to evacuate. And again, the etc. venue staff will clear the venue and lead us there should the alarms sound. In terms of other housekeeping today, please do put your mobile devices to silent or vibrate. Toilets are located in the main foyer area out there if you haven't already used those. And we've got a wonderful refreshments buffet, etc. for you today. Please, if you have any specific dietary needs, please don't take any food from the buffet specifically, but make the LGfL staff aware so they can tend to your specific requirements. Conference program, as you've hopefully seen, is electronic today, and it can be found at letscelebrate2.lgfl.net. Wi-Fi is accessible via the etc. venues network using the password Wi-Fi 4063, so that's etc. venues network, password Wi-Fi 4063, and all presentations are filmed in the main room and will be live streamed to YouTube. Please put your thoughts and ideas and pictures and everything from today out via social media. So if you're using those, at LGfL on Twitter, LinkedIn and Facebook, hashtag Let's Celebrate 2. So it'd be really good if you could be sharing your thoughts from today and everything that you've been enjoying. It would be fantastic if you could do that. During today, we've got seminars. They'll be held in the blue, pink, orange, green and purple rooms, so look out for those. And of course, where would a conference like this be without the competition? So, just before the afternoon keynote sessions, you'll all be given a lottery number. It's Friday, it's Euro Millions Day, so it's got to be that, isn't it really? And this will be your ticket for a chance to win 10 Chromebooks. Am I allowed to be in that as well? For your school. So hold on to this, as this will be announced at the end of the day. So you need to stay with us until the end of the day for that, but if that's there. But if the winning ticket's not present, this will roll over to the next number. So there is a rollover. So it's not just there if you go home. So please stay with us to the end of the day. So hopefully you've seen the programme, you see what we've got lined up for you. But let's just get on with it, shall we? I think that's what you came here to do today. You didn't come here to listen to me. So, you've seen them before. They're here again. I hope you've got your dancing shoes on for a Friday, everybody, because I'm going to hand over now to Rock Kids to get us and the day energised. Everybody, round of applause, please, for our Rock Kids.
All right, fantastic. Good morning, everyone. You guys definitely need waking up this morning. Good morning, everyone. Fantastic. My name is Cameron. I'm one of the directors here at Rock Kids, and we deliver the most fun, amazing, and engaging workshops in primary schools all around the UK. If you turn your eyes towards the screen, stick that on the screen there, Si. We've nothing on the screen, don't worry about it. So, we deliver fun, amazing, and engaging workshops. We transform your school hall into a rock concert venue and deliver workshops on self-esteem, perseverance, respect and diversity, and anti-bullying. It'll look exactly like this in your school hall. But it's not enough to just show you a video. We've come to showcase what we do and get you guys active at the start of the conference today. So we're going to transform you guys into rock stars for 3 minutes. Who wants to be a rock star for 3 minutes? Yay. Like 6 people. To be fair, when we came in February, it was 3, so we've doubled in size. Everybody on your feet, we're going to transform you guys into rock stars for 3 minutes. Si is going to get you guys involved. Let's see you on your feet.
All right, guys. So, we're going to teach you a song called Don't Quit. Everyone say Don't Quit. Don't quit. It's about perseverance. It's about never giving up. In this day and age, it's brilliant. So, a couple of things we're going to do. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and you guys are going to go hey. Okay, let's just try that. 1, 2, 3, hey! That wasn't bad,
That was alright.
Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, hey! Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. And then the last one, just to catch you out. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's practice that, okay? So it's hey, 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 and go. Okay, let's try it. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, go. Fantastic. And then I'm going to say some really cool things halfway through the song. I might say something like, don't quit. And then you guys need to shout, don't quit. So let's just try that. Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Never give up.
Never give
Even
up.
louder. Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Say don't quit.
Don't quit.
Shout never give up.
Never give up.
Fantastic. I think we're about ready to rock. Are you guys ready? I said, are you ready? All right, play the song. Here we go.
All right, I want to see everybody with your hands in the sky. Everybody get your hands in the sky. Here we go. From the front to the back. We're going to clap.
1, 2, 3, clap. Turn it up. All right, tell you when you're a bit in. Here we go.
I'm not a failure, but I still fall. In every trial, I'll be stronger than before. Time for activation, time for motivation. I won't give up.
All right, it's your turn. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Fall hard and I get back up. I'm gonna give this all I got. One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Got heart and the beat won't stop. I'm gonna give this all I got. In the face of fear and doubting words, no matter what they say, I will rise above it all. Time for activation, time for motivation. Oh, I won't give up. I will
All right,
reach my
here we go again. You ready? 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, hey. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Fall hard and I get back up. I'm gonna give this all I got. One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Got heart and the beat won't stop. I'm gonna give this all I got.
All right, it's your turn again. Repeat after me. You ready? Say don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Say don't quit.
Don't quit.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Louder, don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't stop.
Don't stop.
Say don't quit.
Don't quit.
Never give up.
Never give up. Let's jump, 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 jump.
I want to see you guys rocking. Let's clap.
One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Fall hard and I get back up. Oh, I'm gonna give this. 1, 2, 3, jump, jump. One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Fall hard and I get back up. Oh, I'm gonna give this all I got. One life, I'm gonna live it. This time, not gonna quit. Got heart and the beat won't stop. I'm gonna give this all I got.
Give yourselves a massive cheer.
You guys can take a seat. Wow. Introverts, you can relax, don't worry. That's the end of that for the day. Thank you so much for letting us entertain you to kick off the conference in style. We'll be out in the Tech Village, and I hope you all have a fantastic, fantastic day. Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic. No need to go to the gym this morning then, people. I hope you enjoyed that. Cameron and Si, as ever, brilliant start to the day here. Okay, folks, so I like it as in this role that we're already 2 minutes ahead of schedule, so that's excellent. So good stuff. So, everybody, you'll see in your programme today our first presenter of the day, Nick Corsten. And where's Nick? Where is he? Is he out there somewhere? I'm looking for him. So our first presenter today, in the last 10 years, has been described as a man on a mission by Wired magazine and The Guardian. His mission is to raise £1 million to inspire 1 million kids to aim higher. Igniting the power of creativity to inspire our children in their learning, connect our communities with their schools and power our country's economy matters to Nick. He's here today with air cover from Chris Dyson. Where would a conference be, an LGfL conference without Chris Dyson? You'll hear more from him later, and other brave school leaders to not only share their exciting collaborative journey, but give practical examples of how you might ignite a creativity revolution in your school community. So everyone, let's give a warm LGfL welcome to Nick Corsten.
Who's excited?
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Phil Cooper. A national campaign has been launched in Liverpool to encourage schools to include arts and technology as part of the curriculum. Over 30 organisations have joined the Save Our Subjects campaign, which is being led by STEAMco, a national non-profit community enterprise.
20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Come on, let's have a round of applause.
Past the hour.
You have no idea what we're about to unleash upon this room and upon the country. Can you all please close your eyes and imagine you are 6 again? And I walk into your school. That was my son's school in Camden, Ackland Burley. You're 6 again. Who's excited? I'm so excited. Who's excited? Oh!
One of our sponsors are once again doing the unexpected. Something that defies the norm. Smartsheet are removing their logos for the British Grand Prix and replacing them with a non-profit, STEAMco, because they believe empowering work that matters.
Hi, I'm Nick Corsten, co-founder of STEAMco. Hello everybody, my name's Nick. I have to say to the kids I'm just a dad, so if you've got any tricky questions, hands up teachers please. Any teachers here for the tricky questions? Big round of applause for everybody with our hands up please. Our teachers are our kids' future and they're my pension. I'm just a dad. There's no screen here, so I'm going to keep looking around. I've had a bit of a car week, I'll be honest with you. I was at Glastonbury last week and an artist I met chuck a bunch of old cars in the ground and call it Carhenge. Don't know if you approve of that. Shocking behaviour. Been trying to get to Glastonbury for years myself. 7 years ago, I went to Ironbridge. I'm from Shropshire. I'm a Shropshire lad. That's my mum. And we went there to launch a creativity revolution. Now, this presentation, sorry, there's a bit of a typo in the title, John. We said we're talking about a creativity revolution. My mum and I don't talk, we walk. We are walking this revolution. My mother was very ill last year. They took her into hospital. She had 3 months to live. We got home on the Saturday, and the district nurse came in and said, Mrs. Causton, I've got a clipping on my fridge of you and my daughters from 30 years ago. You ran an arts and crafts summer play scheme. You taught my kids to paint. The Sunday, the carer came in, Siobhan, and she said, Mrs. Causton, you taught me sewing on that summer play scheme. And they reminded me that part of what I do is part of my mother's legacy, but more importantly, that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they have a framework that's safe, that's professional, that delivers on whatever it's supposed to be delivering on. The Monday I went into a local school, we launched the Our Million campaign to inspire 1 million kids by raising 1 million quids. BBC Shropshire covered it. BBC local radio is always great, so you get a soundtrack for your videos. And I showed the video to Mum, we had a laugh. She passed away the next day. This is her legacy. We are walking this creativity revolution. And I hope you'll come with me on that, because I hope you will walk with us on this journey. Art. I love art. I've got the T-shirt. I love it so much, I bought the T-shirt. Because art for me is about creativity, tools, and people. I advocate for creativity. I drive people around the bends talking about creativity and the importance of creativity, but fortunately I'm not the only one. I've been using #CreativityCrisis for a few years. Even The Guardian covered it, but hey, left-wing media is when the right wing start covering it, and they are. It's been on the radio for the last few weeks. This is happening now. And if you care about this, and if you want to know what's happened in the last 40 years, download this report by the Gullisco-Bunkin Foundation and A New Direction. What has happened in the last 40 years since an amazing program was put in place, but more importantly, what we need to be doing now. Great document. Creativity. Tools. Tools are just what we do with that, use that creativity with. It could be red paint on a caveman's hand in the Dordogne. It could be code on a BBC microbit. It could be cardboard, making things out of cardboard. Cardboard has been described as the gateway drug to making. A lad told me that in Norwich, a 13-year-old kid at a TEDx, and I will nick quotes from anybody, Einstein or 13-year-old kids. This is a young girl in Katie Potts, one of Katie Potts' schools that she introduced me to in Islington, another LGfL school.
Firstly,
I don't care what anybody says, there is a tech skills crisis. This is Michelle Donnellan.
And secondly,
Science, Innovation, Technology Minister, prior to that Culture, prior to that DFE.
Vacancies per month for digital occupations in the UK. Those unfilled roles are costing us up to £150 billion a year.
I don't know how she kept a straight face. The tech skills crisis in this country is costing UK GDP $150 billion. Because we're not teaching our kids tech literacy. We're not teaching them coding. We're leaving it to the likes of Barclays and Google and Code Club, volunteer organisations, if you're lucky enough to have an after-school club. So art, creativity, tools, and people. People are key, and I've got this #BraveSchoolLeaders. People like Gary Spracklin, the head teacher down there in Dorset, who runs his school on the principle of #InspiredToLearn. When kids are inspired, they will learn. Not when they're sitting there staring at blackboards, not when they're learning for the test. And here we are, we had Elon Musk come in for the day when I popped down there. We made a cardboard car. Elon Musk quite liked our car and drove it off. Next week, Gary and his kids are coming for a day they will never forget with me because of this, because this provided a fantastic introduction to a film I want to show you, the McLaren thing, if we have time at the end. John's only given me 19 minutes. He said, it's good enough for TED Talks, it's good enough for you, Nick. And I talk quickly. In fact, The Guardian had a headline that said, I just talk quickly till people say yes. Fortunately, it didn't make the website, just in print. Brave school leaders are people, well, I actually didn't invent that, this chap did. Steve Williamson, head teacher in Northern States Primary in Sunderland, 8 years ago when I went into that school. I said, this is an amazing school, you're doing all the creative stuff, but you're Ofsted outstanding. How does that work? He said, Nick, it's simple. Ofsted are clear. Sorry to bring the O word up on a Friday. Ofsted are clear. They value creativity. And there's always a but. It takes brave school leaders. Leaders who know that creativity creates uplifts across the curriculum, know that creativity will give kids life chances they won't get from a narrow curriculum. Brave leaders who collaborate with nutcase community members like me. And I'd like you all to please stand up right now, stretch your legs, come on, stand up and clap your hands for Chris Dyson, one of my brothers by a different mother. Chris Dyson, get yourself up here, man. Where is he? He's in the toilet. Chris Dyson coming through. Chris has been a rock to me over the years. by doing stuff he didn't even understand half the time. I'm fairly sure of that. Chris, you haven't even got, can we got a handheld microphone for Chris, please? So Chris, in a sentence, describe the journey we've had.
Well, I can't wait to get on the Glastonbury footage. Nick, could we have a bit of Glastonbury footage?
Mate, John said no Glastonbury footage. He wants to keep it on cyber security, firewalls, and what other, Adobe creative tools, whatever. I'm sure we'll be fine. You had to be there, mate. Maybe next year?
Maybe next year.
So basically, Chris and I, we've had some fantastic times. I mean, one of the things I first did with Chris was go in and show this film. And I show this still every day. I've got permission from the singer to show this film. It's about somebody who plays the piano, the OG rocket man, as he's known, Elton John. I'd like you all to watch this film, this is what I say to the kids, and think of a word about what it makes you feel, what you see, what you think it's about. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to test you.
It's a little bit funny.
I don't think it's funny. I think it's quite nice. A little bit of piano. Lots of kids want to be rich and famous, but it's not all it's made up to be. Here he is, his husband and his boys aren't there. He's sad, he's lonely. That's why he's given up touring. Not much money. Elton John's made £300 million from that piano. That's quite a bit of money, isn't it? Here he is in Shea Stadium. If everybody there gave him $100, he's doing all right. And here he is playing the piano on an aeroplane with a band called Led Zeppelin. John's the only person who's ever heard of them. I had to look it up. And here he is playing the piano on another programme John used to enjoy, Top of the Pops. He only watches it on Boxing Day now, tragically. You have got YouTube out in Essex, I think, haven't you, John? So it's all good. Now, his gift was this song, and he's given it to all of you. To inspire you, to inspire your kids, to keep on going. Look at these people dancing, singing, playing the piano, having fun. How happy he's making them. And here he is at the school concert. Do you think his mum's proud of him, working hard at playing the piano, making all that money? And here he is on Christmas Day, a little lad. I wonder what he's going to get for Christmas. No, not an Xbox or a PlayStation. Blimey, I thought it was obvious. The greatest gift anybody can give a child, their art, some time, and a story. Now, I took that film on the UK tour. Elton John retweeted a version of that I made, all about art and creativity. We went to Parklands Primary. Can we get a handheld mic for Chris, please? And a little lad put his hand up, said, "You haven't told him about steamboats." Remember that lad, Chris? Tell us about that little young
Just say
fella.
that again, I was just waiting for a microphone.
Sorry.
I think
thought
this
you might
one's
have got
on.
one. Do you remember that little lad? He put his hand up and he said, "Tell them about steamboats. The Sheffield all came from steel, all came from Sheffield, didn't it?"
Oh, the one about the Titanic, you know, and how the inspiration just by having a visit and talking about. Oh, here we go. Testing. Yeah, so lovely little lad. Nick came in for an assembly and he wanted to know about steam and they wanted to know about, you know, engines and the rocket kids and things. This little lad just put his hands up, who didn't normally speak, to put his hand up in assembly and speak, but he just wanted to come out with all these facts about the Titanic, which is quite apt after last week's awful news and things. You know, and Nick inspired this child so much, and the inspiration led him to the child, his sister, his parents, being invited by Nick for a tour of London, where they got to see things that they never, ever experienced, because the thing about children, sadly, in some big estates is they don't ever leave those estates. And Nick gave them a dream. He gave them the ultimate weekend. He took them all out for the lunch, for the tea, you know. And when this child came back and he wrote his own sort of mini autobiography and things, it was absolutely inspirational and touching. And if we cut all these arts out and we cut the creativity out, we just think about reading, writing, maths, then we're robbing our future generations massively.
Absolutely, thanks, Chris. And we wrote a book. We took him down to Parliament. And we actually wrote a book with 10 short stories, which one of those was about the Parklands rocket kid there. And it's not about just taking one child. A bit of Glastonbury footage for you, Chris. We haven't got time for that. I just had 10 minutes. Sorry, that's me in the mosh pit for Elton John last week. I had to get that in. So what was that word? What was that word? What word did you think of? What word did you think of when you watched that film? What did you see? What did it make you feel? What was it about? Inspired. That will do me. Have a sticker. Come on, that's all you did it for. What do you think? Talents. You take that as well. Dave, what was your word, mate? I might buy another 30 seconds if I give him a sticker.
Emotion.
Emotion. Oh, John? Creativity is always one, isn't there? Check the shirt out. John keeps us going.
Best shirts in the world.
I always say to the kids, if I ask you what you think, what you tell me is not wrong. If that's what you think, as long as it's not rude or silly, I think it's about art. I think it's a film about art, because art is what we call it when what we do connects us to somebody else. Art is everything. It's for everybody. Every child's got a passion, and the challenge we have in life is finding that passion. I tell them about this lad here, a little lad who read 3 books a day, every book in the school library. Dreamt of going to Mars. It's a story about money, about making friends. It's a story about making your world, my world, our world, their world a better place, because he found his art by reading, by having knowledge. He dreamt of going to Mars. He needed some skills with all that knowledge. So he learned coding. He started a solar panel company, an electric train company, electric car company. Yes, that little lad who read 3 books a day ended up being Elon Musk. I don't want any boos or hisses. I don't do binary thinking. There's an interesting story there somewhere, isn't there, for our kids? Somebody who has used his knowledge, who has used his skills to do what he can, and thinks is making the world a better place. He's now making rockets. I haven't got time for that today. We've had enough rockets. I love art so much, as I say, I bought the T-shirts, and we're getting 1 million people to do these designs, these portraits. We've got 1,000 printed. We've been fly posting them. This is a school in Bradford I'm going to on Monday to help with their careers day. Can you film it widthways, Ty? To help with their careers day on Monday in Bradford, because we're launching that creativity revolution. This is the head teacher, Chris Tolson, who in 5 years has turned his school around using a STEAM curriculum. We made rockets there one day. 20 mums came in from the local Asian community, and from then on they were engaged in working with the school. This is about creativity and community engagement. There he is. We rented a screen. We did a Stormzy sing-along at their end-of-term Christmas thing. And that's my favourite. One of the police local support officers came in and actually sang to Stormzy as well on that big screen we rented. That's my favourite photo I've ever taken in my life. Art could be like Grace and Perry dressing up as ladies throwing cakes at people. It could be painting. It could be photography. It could be dancing. It could be design. Morag Myerscough, fantastic graphic design. And thanks to Ackland Burley, my son's at Kingston doing graphic design now. Could be DJing. Mark Anderson, I'm supposed to have a face-off with him on the DJ deck, so I think I'm going to have to leave early on that one. Your art could be fashion. If I say football, I have to get my whistle out and shut the kids up, because excitement for football is profound. Unbelievable level of excitement. I say, well, great, if that's your plan A, have a plan B. Be a physio, be a grasskeeper, because my granddad had a trial for Norwich City, broke his leg first day and never ended up playing in the team. Built a canning factory in Thetford on the site of the old Burrell traction engine family. That's a TED talk in itself. Your art could be cooking. Your art could be coding, as I say. And if I have one thing that I wish you would all do today, it's to go back to your schools and make sure every child in your school has access to a BBC microbit. I've lost mine in my pocket, whatever. Cardboard. Making things out of cardboard. I never go anywhere without my cardboard tools and the bits and pieces needed to make cardboard models, just these little screws here. And there is a little piece from Yorkshire, actually. Raiding the Yorkshire, Doncaster, IKEA to do something with Carrie. We did a bit of cardboard workshop with your community, didn't we, Chris?
We did.
30 seconds.
We ended up emptying out all Tesco, all Asda, all the bits of cardboard, all the staff, some great big cardboard trailers, as it were. So, but again, it's something that every child has access to. You know, a bit of cardboard, you know, by using these fantastic little screws and the fantastic little screwdrivers and things, the children could be so creative, because there's no art, it's not right or wrong. It's about creativity and doing something special and unique.
And very much community engagement, getting the families working with their children, learning with their children, playing with their children. Rockets, I make paper rockets. That's in Norwich City colours for my mum and granddad. I'm the first person ever, and possibly the last, to fire a rocket at Glastonbury. I launched a dynamite rocket with full health and safety risk assessments as well. So the 3 greatest gifts in life you can give your kids are time, stories and art. This is a film of me when I was 1 with my first train set. My dad spent time playing with me. He gave me a story to tell you today. He gave me my art because I went to university and became a master's engineer. And I'm a proud member of VIET. Racing cars, robots, rockets, racing cars. And a bit of bad news for Chris is that we haven't actually got time to show the Lego Mindstorms robot. But I've got a robot that will solve a Rubik's Cube in 2 minutes. This is a 15-year-old robot you can get off eBay for 30 quid. And that's the fast one. And this is the long version of the talk. So this is about art for all. Art is a fundamental human right. Art and culture are enshrined in the United Nations Charter for Human Rights. And if you go to Sheffield, you go to Yorkshire Sculpture Park, you will see this message up here. by Rob and Roberta Smith. All schools should be art schools. It doesn't mean they should be painting all the time. It means you should be helping your kids find their passion. Jeff Barton said 9 in 10 schools have cut the arts, but it's not happening in the independent schools because it's what the parents pay for. Hands up if you pay your tax, because that means you're paying for an education you want, and that's what we're talking about. So we're launching a creativity revolution. I've got my Starship, which has got a green screen studio in the back, thanks to John, who had the vision to support my work. We've been to Liverpool, we're going all over, and I want to get 20 of these little trucks on the road with 20 Steamsters, people like me, running fully paid for days in primary schools and at festivals. Tomorrow I'm at a traction engine rally in Yorkshire. On Sunday I'm at a football tournament in Bradford, because that's what we've got to do. We've got to get people into their communities. We're launching it in Shropshire, which is birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. We're going to Cornwall, which is obviously where Trevithick came from. This is me at the Cornwall County Show. I made a cardboard traction engine because they wouldn't let them drive the real one around the arena. And Yorkshire, which provided the coal, because creativity is the coal for the creativity revolution that's coming. What can you do? What can you take away? Please, 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 please consider Artmark accreditation for your school, because it will provide a culture of art and culture from leadership down. Whatever you do, get hold of Microbits. They're giving $1 million away at the moment. I think it's the Nominate Foundation, is it? Or Mozilla or something like that, giving $1 million. Grab yours if you're in primary, because they gave the last lot to secondary. And like this head teacher did, I met a chap here, Roger Billing from Norgate Primary at the last LGfL conference. He came in, we did a half-day rocket session. We're going back for a whole community engagement. It's a new school, an LGfL school, that was built in a housing estate, and they need to build those community bridges, and we're going to be working on him to do that. I'm going to put a whole plan in place for community engagement and a STEAM curriculum. So that is me. Thanks to John, I've got a green screen studio at home. I've done Glastonbury festivals. I've live streamed from cardboard cathedrals. We've done stuff. This is the other week. Our Starship, which was paid for after my mother passed away by a benefactor. We did that with a Starlink in a tent at Brixton, and John generously sent Justin along here to help out and work with the community. We need more companies like LGfL, like Google, like Barclays. Hashtag Team LGfL, that's what we're talking about here, and that's why we're trying to raise £1 million to inspire 1 million kids. And I haven't got time to show the full film because it's 3 minutes, but do you want to show it? Yes. Hands up if you want cyber security. Hands up if you want firewalls. Hands up if you want to see a film that I was briefed on in a Zoom call, literally a year to the day that we said goodbye to my mother. And next weekend, the Grand Prix would have been her birthday. Thanks.
Beautiful film. What a week.
One of our sponsors are once again doing the unexpected. Something that defies the norm. Smartsheet are removing their logos for the British Grand Prix and replacing them with a non-profit, STEAMco, because they believe in empowering work that matters.
Hi, I'm Nick Corster, co-founder of STEAMco. STEAMco exists to help inspire our kids to aim higher than high, powered by creativity and community. At the heart of what we do are STEAMco days, where the community comes in, working with the children to inspire them. Who would like to meet Professor Brian Cox? We have these little pop-up Creativity Day art trucks that contain everything you need to run a Creativity Day. We've got rocket-making kits, we've got coding kits, we've got cardboard modelling kits. There's something that everybody can do on a STEAMco day, and at the end of the day, it takes a whole village to inspire a child. I believe our work's important because creativity is important. Creativity can inspire kids in their learning, it can connect communities, and it can power the economy. One of the key things we teach kids is not to fear failure, to be prepared to have a go, so that they thrive and not just survive in this brave new world that they're about to enter.
Right, now tighten up. One bit more? Yeah. You've got potential. I can see it.
Well, I travel all over the UK, from Land's End to John O'Groats, and the Starship comes in handy, I must admit, because it's my office on 4 wheels. So when I rock up at a school playground in a car park, I love to say to the kids, what do you think of my Starship? Adults see an old camper van, but it's our Starship, really, isn't it? I'm hoping that the future of Steamco is bright, and what I want to do is get 3 trucks on the road initially, and 3 crazy people like me, across England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. One day, maybe the world, maybe the universe. When Smartsheet said they wanted to support Steamco in this way, I was just blown away. This was the opportunity we really needed to raise our profile, to raise awareness. But more to the point, I realised that somebody else shared the dream. They could see the method in my madness. It was that validation. Who wants to join me on a creativity revolution? I have to pinch myself that my life has come to a place where this is what I do. When this takes off, hopes, dreams take off with it. The difference that you make to those kids, to those communities, is profound. It really is. I'm living a life with purpose, and I'm grateful for that opportunity.
At McLaren F1, we're thrilled to be racing with Steamco on our cars in the UK. This is Sponsor X.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Nick, and also lovely to see Chris up on the stage this earlier in the day. Folks, hope you've enjoyed that. You'll never get bored with Nick, will you? Pardon the pun. But actually, let's go move on to our second session of the morning. Delighted to welcome to the stage John Jackson, inspirational CEO of LGfL, and he will be joined by John Munt from the LGfL team to talk to you about an exciting new service from LGfL. Everybody give a warm welcome to John.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. I could not resist. I wanted to do that. Because I was out last night, right, and it was somebody's birthday. And they said, it was their 29th birthday. And they said, how old do you think I am? And they said, mid-60s. Now, you're all supposed to not laugh at that point. But it's great to be here, as always. And isn't it wonderful that we have people like Nick around, who have that passion, that vision, that energy to make things happen that otherwise would not happen. And one of the things that really excites me is the fact that this audience here, we are full of people who do that every day for children. So it's absolutely wonderful to see you here today. So give yourselves a round of applause before we get started. Come on. And also, what a lineup we've got, right? Have you seen the lineup? We're even flying in Dan Fitzpatrick. He's coming, yes, the AI man of the world. He's flying in specially for LGfL schools because he loves you so much. He enjoyed himself so much last time. He's flying in for us, which is terrific. And this is our 3rd conference this year. It's our 3rd, really is. And it's what you wanted. But I'll talk a few minutes about LGfL because I've got to, haven't I, as the CEO. For those of you who don't know anything about LGfL for the first time, we don't profit from schools. Our mission in life is to invest in education. We are a charity. Now think about this for a moment. For every £1 that schools spend with us, we're putting £2.50 back in value into the sector. Just think about that for a moment, yeah? And this is why we can hold events like this. This is why we can buy things at such massive scale, because the money that you invest in us gives you a 250% return on investment. It's not bad, is it? You can't hire the audiences even nowadays. It's better than Thames Water, isn't it? Cut that from the final video, though. So obviously, the things we'll talk about today, keeping children safe. How many of you use safe skills? Cheer? We need a bit of a louder cheer. Where's Mr. Bentley? I'll have to have a word with him. Online safety audit? Yeah, that sounded louder. School Protect? Who's using that? We haven't even launched it yet. Of course, you've heard of our multi-layered digital defence system, haven't you? Who's in charge of PR? Who's done a security scorecard? Yes. Who hasn't? Come on, own up, because only a few of you put your hand up. One of the things that's really important for us going forward is resilience. Now, whatever you do in life, as we all know, if there's a single point of failure, it will fail. So one of the things that I've been working on over the summer is how the heck do we create massive resilience across our network? Because we've spent millions and millions on it. And hopefully the next month or two, we're going to be able to announce something massive. Something massive. We're going to bring an unbelievable level of resilience, particularly in London, to schools. You can't wait, can you? You know, because when it goes down at the moment, it's a bit of a panic, right? Isn't it? Whoa, it really is. Anyway, I want to go there today. But also it's important for LGfL is saving schools money, because we buy on behalf of thousands of schools, so we get, God, yeah, dearie me, economies of scale, buying power, which enables us to save millions of pounds for you. And what's also important in that is we spend it wisely. It's not so much about being cheap. People always talk about cheap, cheap, cheap. Broadband is cheap. Yes, it's cheap because people cut corners. Yeah, you can only be cheap because you cut corners. So some people attempt to compare one of those with one of those. We engineer our network, believe me, to be world class, not to be second class. We put kit in schools that people have heard of, not kit in schools that people have never heard of. And it, hopefully, once it gets resilient, it'll work 100% every day, every day. And, come on, you name a supplier that hasn't increased costs this year. That is LGfL. I've borne the pain. Come on, give me a cheer. That's cost me an awful lot of money. Thank you, Vladimir. Energising teaching and learning, of course, at our core is teaching and learning. That's everything. That's what we're about. Pedagogy and technology. Go there, visit that. I won't steal thunder. Communities of best practice, EdTech hubs, regional hubs. Digital transformation toolkit. Anybody used it? Any good? Very good. There you go. And that wasn't planned, was it? No envelopes. Connectivity without limits. I will talk later about our big plan to take all the boundaries off connectivity. You will never again have to worry about how fast your network will go, because we will go faster. 8,000 free upgrades since 2016. I'll tell you what, you make me work hard today. Promoting well-being, of course, really important. Kelly's here today talking about that, and I think in a really interesting way. Inequality for us, really important. We tackle it. Free school meals checker. Any of you use that? More of you need to use it. That's how much we've identified this year alone. £38.3 million of funding for schools and children. And that's how much we've raised since it was launched. What's that number? 174 million. But it gives my pleasure now, I'm looking around, he's not too far away. We want to tell you about something we're very excited about. This is the first time we've launched a new platform for a long time. We want to empower schools, and with something called Assemble. So at this point, John, can you join me on the stage, please? Give John a round of applause.
You got the mic. You want me to take this off? I'll take you one just in case. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I've worked in London schools for 20 years. I was a school leader for 10 of those. I know LGfL very well, and it's been great fun working with them on this project, which is Assemble. As John said, it's a new platform. And John has also just given you a great overview about the range of great tools you get as part of your subscription. And I think this new platform, Assemble, is designed to help you get the most out of that subscription. School leaders, whether you're a head teacher, a senior leader, a business manager, a DSL, an IT provision manager, there is a whole host of tools available to you. But having that information at your fingertips, crucial information that will help you provide a better provision for your children, it's often difficult to get that information in one place. And that's what the Assemble platform is designed to do. It's groundbreaking. It's very clever. It talks to all the different parts of the LGfL subscription and brings it all into one place for you. Okay? We've really had fun designing it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a maths teacher by trade, but I've had that hat of the school leader on when I've designed this module, this application. All the situations I've been in when I used to line manage my IT provision in my secondary school, when I've been in those difficult situations when there's been a cyber attack or when the broadband's gone down or whatever it may be, having the information at your fingertips to deal with those situations. It's all there in your subscription. You may just not know it at the moment because it's accessing it. This platform's completely free. As John says, it's part of your subscription. So the whole LGfL, all LGfL schools will eventually get access to it. And today, I'm going to talk to you a little about the roadmap. I'm going to show you the product. We've been teasing Assemble. It's been floating around for a long time. So we're actually going to show you the product today, and it is the application, and it is ready to go. The alpha testing has been completed, and we're now ready to get 100. We want to get 100 plus schools on it straight away from next week. And the really good news is, you are the chosen ones. So we're not going to open this up to the whole LGfL network, not until September, okay? But we do want, over the next few months, we've only got a few weeks left of term, and over the summer holidays, you guys are going to be, you are the ones that are going to have access to it, and you'll be able to onboard and get going on this new platform from next week when you get the email. Okay, so you will be contacted when it is ready, but it'll be next week. How does it work? What's going to happen with this? So between now and September, you'll get the platform as it is right now. Over the next couple of months, there's going to be a few new features which are going to be appearing between now and September. So you're going to be the beta mode, hopefully. You're going to be testing it out for us. And it's about working together and getting feedback on it. And then it'll be available to everyone from September. And the developments we've got planned for this over the next academic year are really, really exciting. But that's enough about it. I'm going to show you the platform now. And we'll be about today on the LGfL stand if you want to come and find out a bit more. You'll come into a dashboard. There'll be some key metrics from different parts of your subscription in there. You're going to get some cool information about your school in terms of the profile, the makeup of your school, attendance, the profile of the students, that kind of idea. It's talking to your MIS system using the WAND application is the cog that we're using for that. That will be driving access to the LGfL Assemble platform. And the idea will be that down the left-hand side, you'll have a range of different dashboards that will be pulling lots of different information from different parts of the LGfL subscription. And this is really going to develop over time. Broadband. I've been in the position where my broadband's, internet connectivity in my school's gone down, and I've been told by my network manager, it's the broadband. No, it wasn't. There was something internally in the school. You'll get live feeds from your routers telling you about your broadband and whether it's working and what you're getting and the usages and all that stuff. That's live. You'll get that here in the platform, okay? Cybersecurity, huge at the moment. You know you've got access to Sophos, Malwarebytes, security scorecard, but head teacher, your business managers, even your IT provision managers are so busy knowing how to log on to all those different portals and try and access this stuff. Assemble's going to pull it all into one place for you. You'll be able to see your live security scorecard. You'll be getting, it talks to Sophos Intercept X, which which is hopefully be on all your endpoints. It'll be pulling that information in, and you'll be able to see if there's any issues or see what Sophos is doing to stop some threats. The same with malware bytes, and over time, anything on cybersecurity will be building and integrating it in, as is all aspects of your LGfL subscription. The plan will be to get it all accessible in one place for you on LGfL Assemble. LGfL Services, your savings calculator. Now at times I used to forget where this was and trying to find it. Half the time schools don't always know everything that's available to them as part of their subscription. The IT managers not often do. Doesn't mean your head teachers do, your senior leaders do. So the LGfL savings calculator will give a very comprehensive list of what you've got access to, what you're using, and what you're not using. So that's a little snippet of what Assemble looks like. Very quickly, how do you get started and get onboarded? It's really straightforward. You need 2 people. One, a trusted user. They need to have access to your school's Wand account, and they need to have their email address stored within the management information system, your MIS. What they do is they go into Wand, they grant permission to LGfL Assemble, so we want to pull your teachers so that it provisions it so they can use Assemble and pull the information it needs. Then from the Wand portal, that person will click a link into the onboarding page and we'll get started, okay? Once they've done their bit, it's very quick, it takes 2 minutes. The head teacher receives an email with an activation link. We need to involve the head teacher for security purposes. They just get a link, they click on it, and the head teacher would need to confirm the information that's been provided and select a couple of administrators, and they're away. It's as simple as that. Once you've done that, the administrators can give access to whoever they want in your school. It doesn't use your USO account. It will use the email addresses of what's in your MI system, whichever emails you are using. It's nothing to do with USO. You can log on using Microsoft or Google. You'll be straight in. You can authenticate against that to get in as well if that's what your school uses. It's dead easy, but that's enough for now. Come and see us. We'll be on the LGfL stand if you want to find out more. But from next week, you'll all be getting an email saying, you're ready to go. We want you guys to use it. Give us feedback. This is going to develop massively over the next 12 months. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the 2 Johns. Brilliant, really great. And do go and have a chat with John and the team outside and find out more about that exciting new development here at LGfL. Okay, folks. So we move on during the morning. So very grateful to our next speaker, Ty Goddard from EdTech UK, who's been working closely with Bob Usher here at LGfL on the EdTech Hubs programme across England, which was born out of the DFE-funded EdTech Demonstrator programme during the pandemic. With Ty's unique support, LGfL have been building a peer-to-peer support network, identifying lead schools that generously model, share, and support the whole LGfL community. Through their inspirational leadership and impactful use of technology, they help us all ensure that the learners remain at the heart of the technology used in schools. Thank you, Ty, for all you've done. Really grateful. And continue to do for the LGfL community. So, folks, let's hear from the guy himself. Ty, please come up and join us and tell us more about it, folks.
Thank you very Thanks, Dave. Thanks, colleagues. I'm just wading through Nick's stickers here and cardboard. And my wife says to me, she says, who's that on the phone? I say, it's Nick from a lay-by in Essex, or that's Nick. Can you imagine what the map of the UK looks like where Nick has actually been? I am in awe of that guy's work. I'm in awe too of what LGfL is doing in this digital space. And if you look back over the past 10, 15 years, where I think we've suffered a corrosive lack of leadership on digital in education, thank God for LGfL. And I think when we go around the country, Bob and I, when we go around the country and we are working with communities of schools, schools and colleges. Let's not forget the power of further education out there, folks. There are some, there's some tough stories. And we are critically facing, I would argue, some really, really tough times out there. Some really tough times in communities, in terms of the cost of living crisis. I think we are also facing some really tough times in the profession. I think budgets have reached, and you'll know this yourselves, budgets are reaching chronic situations, emergency situations, with schools having to run deficits. It's because our communities are in deficit too, I would argue. And I looked at the programme, and Bob and I reflected with other colleagues from LGfL about what this moment should be about. And I think Nick has reflected that. I think the two Johns have spoken about that as well, is this has to be about hope, faith, and leadership. You know it's tough out there. You know it's tough in your school communities. You know it's tough for many, many families. And almost every week you read about parts of the country. You read about issues in education. It's no wonder that some people don't want to watch the news or read the newspapers. It's about, yes, I get it, it's about their own personal protection. But actually moments like this, and I was talking to Cameron from Rock Kids last night about, how do you think about framing a conversation like this from a stage? How do you think about what you want to share with colleagues? And for me, it is distilled in those words of hope, faith, and leadership. And what I mean by hope is you have to find the hope in your professional lives. I want you to think about the week that's just gone, and this moment here too, is you saw hope. You saw hope, did you? I hope. You might be laughing kind of nervously or whatever, but a kind of sense that, what actually helped you this week in terms of hope. And I want to stress what we're seeing all around the country as we build these communities of practice around the use of education technology is the hope, just like we saw yesterday. The hope of, and we were in King's Cross Academy on a literacy tour, and we met reluctant writers. We met young boys who were having great difficulty in forming letters. The letter P seemed to be a particular challenge to get on the line. We saw people writing stories in their books that were absolutely unbelievable in terms of their writing. This was year 5, year 6. Yeah, we saw education technology being used to communicate and involve parents. We saw letters being reshaped, desperate for those stars on that app. Those kids were desperate for those stars. They were passionately involved in that work, that learning. We were turning, you could see it there yesterday, reluctant writers into people that were absolutely, massively proud about who they were becoming as young people. And also, we did a panel, and you'll remember this yesterday. We did a panel with about 6 teachers from King's Cross Academy. It's literally in the heart of that new community behind St Pancras International. There's a Google, there's all sorts of global companies, and there is, just by the gasworks, just by the gaswork towers, is this newish school, forging lives. There's the hope. There's the hope. And that's what I think today is about as well. I think today is about us finding the hope in difficult times. Finding that, I would argue, that hope that is probably too rare at times under the pressures that we are all facing. Where's your hope? You've got to, folks, also, you have to nurture your hope. You have to nurture your hope. You have to find the place where you are hopeful about yourselves, hopeful about your role. You are educators. Education is about hope. You are involved in that hope. And all of the brickbats, all of the pressures on recruitment, the pressures on retention, the pressures that you know that you are under as school leaders, you've got to keep that faith. You have to keep that faith that you yourselves, your agency, your professionalism is absolutely vital. And you know, and I hope you know, when you look at the two Johns talking about that new platform, that you know that you have LGfL and people like LGfL on your side. And that's really good. And I felt the same yesterday. I felt the same yesterday because there was this school, about 6 years old, this school, new, King's Cross, and behind it and around it was an organisation, again, another favourite organisation of mine over the years, the CLPE. I don't know whether you know CLPE. It focuses for 50 years. It's its 50th anniversary. And all around the country, there are organisations, there are the NICs, there are the LGfLs, there are the CLPEs that are about this. They're about this faith in you as professionals. They're about this faith in you as the hope bringers. And this is what I think it's about. I'm supposed to say leadership, but I quite like leadership. It's about your leadership, your agency, your ability to actually lead at all levels. And we've gone beyond, haven't we? We've gone beyond this kind of sense of command and control. Now, people in Whitehall might still think that command and control enables, empowers, and invigorates people, but we all know that we're beyond that now. Yeah? This is not a century of Victorian command and control. This is not a century of edicts from the centre. This is about your leadership, your agency in your schools, thinking through what is quality teaching and quality learning. And you may decide to use technology. You may decide that the deliberate and purposeful use of education technology is what you want to do in that moment. And it's your decision, I would argue, as a professional to develop that practice. And what we're trying to do, and I think it's quite unique, is we're trying to build communities of practice. I'm going to take it back. Communities of practice all over the country. EdTech hubs. Hampshire, the Northwest, West Midlands, and you're going to hear from folks, I nearly said East Midlands then, you could see me, yeah, but folks from the West Midlands, you're going to hear them talk earlier later about how they're exploring using AI. And also, let's be careful about new policy initiatives, new tech initiatives in education. You know it rests on your professional judgments. It's about what you want to do in terms of quality teaching and to support your learners. Often, education policy is like those football games at primary school. Everyone rushes, yeah, to that place. And then it will rush again. We'll zig and we'll zag in terms of what's new, what is shiny. We can't do that, folks. We've got to stay centered with hope, faith, and your professional judgments about what you want to do in that moment as a teacher to support your learners. That's what it's about. And then yesterday at King's Cross, they make decisions about the use of technology because it's going to help that young person in that moment. And yes, there was a moment on that panel where they said, in all honesty, we are more effective teachers through our use of education technology. Their practice was their faith. Their practice and their judgments were their hope. Their faith and their hope were their judgments about that leadership in that classroom and that moment. Never forget it. So as policy might be like that football game that, you know, all the players rush to the corner of the playground and then rush back, yeah? Stay there. Stay centered. Remember why you came into the profession. Remember what you do. Find hope in what you do. Find faith in what you do. But lead. And lead with organizations like ours, LGfL, by your side, supporting you on that journey. And I think as you reflect, and I know Dave's going to tell me I've got about, I hope, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, good God, 2 minutes left. I think what we've seen over the past 10 years is, as I said earlier, a government that's not fully understood the power of education technology. I think, in all honesty, folks, England is falling behind. Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland are forging not only national identities almost around a new economy. That's quite interesting. And if you look over the borders, you can see an embrace, I think, in a different way from us in England. You can see an embrace of digital. You can see an embrace of what EdTech can create in terms of, and tech can create in terms of a new economy, yeah, particularly for disadvantaged communities. And I think, you know, as I look around and I travel around the country, not half as much as Nick, but as I travel around the country, I've got a sense that we're falling behind. And a new government, I think, is going to have to catch up. In fact, I would argue that new government is going to have to catch up on a lot of things. And I think Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland are showing that this approach is about nurturing the grassroots. This approach is about inviting educators to come and visit other schools. These are our program of study tours, to visit other schools to learn from their peers about the power of technology. It shouldn't be up to a guy to be running around the country in his Starship, igniting a creativity revolution, but he's doing it. It shouldn't be up to LGfL and EdTech UK to be nurturing the grassroots all around this country. But that's what we have to do. Because if the top does not understand what the bottom of the so-called pyramid needs, then you've got to empower those communities of practice. And that's essentially our invitation to you, folks, is that we have events going on. There's a fantastic set of resources on the LGfL website. I think particularly we're beginning to focus in a long overdue way around the pedagogy of EdTech. This is not about the shiny. This is about your practice, your faith, your hope, and your professionalism. We salute you. We love you. Keep going. Keep the hope alive. Thank you for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ty, and totally recommend you to have a look at the EdTech Hubs and find out more about that today. Great initiative. Folks, okay, gentleman walking towards me here now. Our next speaker plays a vital role in our collective responsibility to keep children safe, I'm pleased to say that. As LGfL Safeguarding and Cybersecurity Lead, Mark Bentley has an active role nationally, advising and developing policy in these areas and emerging safety tech space. So the forthcoming revised Keeping Children Safe in Education document for September 2023 includes lots of references to the new DfE web filtering standards and makes it clear it's now the lead responsibility of the DSL.
Don't give it away.
Okay. See, he's giving it away now. So what does this mean for you? So he's come to the stage because he wants to give it away. Round of applause, everybody. Mark Bentley. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Right, Dave's got a toffee. He's stolen my thunder already. Good morning, everyone. I was told we've got rockets, we've got rock kids. It's got to be exciting. And what could be more exciting than DfE standards? That's right. So we're going to get really excited about this. It's not going to be like when Nick said, put your hand up if no one puts the hand up. You're going to put your hands up. And if you do, and you answer a question right, you'll get a special little toffee, just like Dave did for stealing one of the questions that we're coming to and ruining the first couple of slides, but we'll be fine with that. So, Casey goes large. Unfortunately, now this is an age test for you, I've not got enough time to go through everything we need to today, and even our shorts course for DSLs, which is wonderful, and we put in loads more over the next few weeks till the summer as well, are 30 minutes, and even that's just the beginning. So this is like a Jive Bunny mega mix of me talking about web filtering. Who's old enough to know about Jive Bunny? Oh, John was the first. He gets the toffee. Oh, in his cup. There we go. Right. So now, Casey is obviously the big thing. If you've been sleeping under a rock, you will perhaps not have noticed that the 1st of September, well, not the 1st of September, because they always sneak in a few little juicy changes at the end, but essentially September's version came out a couple of weeks ago. So there are other changes other than web filtering. We're not going to talk about them today. Web filtering is the big one. But if you want to pass on, we've got a page, casey.lgfl.net, where you get more time listening to me, talking through slides of the track changes, of all the other bits with some reflective questions. You can then download the slides. If you want to deliver them without my face on, that's fine too. To do some all-staff training, hopefully that's really useful. And of course, we've got loads of other stuff on that page, such as the KC quizzes. I think we're at 100,000 answers on that this year, and so on. So there's loads more on all the other bits of KC that you can find on our website there. And because this is the Jive Bunny Mega Mix, I won't have time to tell you everything. If you go to the link at the bottom there, safefiltering.lgfl.net, you will be able to unpack lots of the things that I'll be talking far too quickly about today. And yes, I will start speaking faster and faster as we get through my 244 slides this morning. But as you can see what's scrolling through there, they're the kinds of things that we should be thinking about. If you're not thinking about them, it's time to start thinking about them. But fear ye not. And also, beyond that, there are two key courses. The 30-minute one for DSLs are already plugged. That's getting quite full at the minute for some strange reason. And at the, if you're a techie, or to pass on to your techie, we've got the David Young. How long is it? Look, the man at the back with the big hair. He's got 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours training on the techie one that you can send your technicians to, because they do need to understand everything and David can tell them everything, fear not. The next one of them is 24th of July, I believe, but the others are every week. So that's something else you're going to do. So I was going to ask you this to see who's read it. Dave already said, but who's got lead responsibility? Woo! There we go. I tried to get Werther's Originals, they didn't have any, so it's Tesco's own. So, hands up if you're a DSL in the room. First person I see there. Woo! Moment to hold your cups. Right, so, does anyone here feel like this already is the case, or it could ever feel like that? Okay, so that might give us an indication of, hands up if that's you. Someone's honest. Okay, you can have 2. I'm going to run out. So 2 for the lady over here. Sorry, not you, Tanya. So there is a bit of panic going on, but you don't need to panic, A, because you've got LGfL, and if you haven't got LGfL, then talk to someone in the red shirt today. But there's plenty of other things. So I'm not going to dwell on the KC stuff, because it does repeat it everywhere, all over the shop. Like I said, you can see the video with all the bits and bobs, but it talks about adding it to your policy, adding it to staff training, talking to all staff, all of these kinds of things. But the key thing, as we've discovered, is the DSL has to take lead responsibility. That does not mean you need to start taking a technical degree and plugging things in yourself, but you do need to know certain things. So that's what we're going to talk about. Right, quick test. No one Googling, please. And I'll keep my beady eye out. What's the first standard of the filtering standards? I want to see a hand. This isn't for a toffee, it's for something else. How come you're going to ruin my gag if no one gets it? Well, I've got all day. The clock's for me, not for you. I'll give you a clue. Something and responsibilities. Who said roles? Someone over there. Who was it that said roles first? Oh, right. Roles. There we go. So we got roles over there, roles and responsibilities. Brilliant. Well done. We'll come back to that. Number 2, we haven't really got time. I was going to do all sorts of other props, but I ran out of time. We're just back to toffees now, fear not. Review your filtering annually. We will come back to that, don't worry. I'm not just going to read these and sit down. You've got me for hours now. Who has ever done a filtering annual review? I think that scornful laugh tells us all we need to know. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Your filtering system should block harmful and inappropriate content without... Oh, hallelujah. You've been listening, haven't you? I don't know who that was, but there we go. There's loads of them. Good. Right, so without overblocking, but actually you're wrong. Overblocking is the KC word in the standards one. It says the not quite so snazzy, unreasonably impacting teaching and learning. But we'll call it overblocking, which actually isn't just about that, and I'll come back to that, you won't be surprised to hear. And finally, effective monitoring strategies. And of course, that one, is it monitoring with a small m or a big M, and so on. We'll come back to them. So, roles. Haven't got any more, but if anyone's peckish, the lady over there has. Who knows, actually, just shout out some of the roles and responsibilities that you might note down for someone in your school. So what role are we talking? DSL, very good, very good. That wasn't enthusiastic enough to get a toffee. Oh, definitely. Governor is the big new one, isn't it? Hands up who's already appointed their governor for web filtering. Brilliant. Hands up who is flabbergasted that I just said that. Okay, your flabbergasting came a while ago, but that's quite a new thing, isn't it? So we will come to what could you tell your governor in the same way as what can we do if we're starting to worry about that. But yeah, governor is the key new role, obviously DSL, but the DSL might also be a bit worried about this, but don't forget about the technical teams as well. So that will be called different things in your different schools, but you do need to note down the roles and responsibilities for all these different people. And don't forget all staff. So there is a role for everybody else. But again, they don't need to know absolutely everything, but you will need to talk them through a few bits and bobs to make sure they're aware, they're giving you feedback if something doesn't work, all that kind of stuff. Right. So the other one was standard number 2, was about doing an annual review. If you have used our online safety audit, which is also something that's been in Casey for a couple of years, you will know that it has a section in it on filtering, which is essentially a filtering review. So if you use that, you could do it that way. Even if you use a different tool for that, or you don't want to do it together, you can go there and get the questions on filtering to form your annual review. I'm not going to go into what they will say at the minute, but we will talk in a second about review versus checks, and then regular checks. Okay, so it's really important to know that the review and the checks are not the same thing, even though, confusingly, it talks about checking the review and reviewing the checks. But it will become clear. So, I can't remember what comes up next. I'll give myself a toffee. Right, so, I remember now. For those of you that are thinking this is all too much, don't look at your watch, Bob, this is exciting. For those of you wondering where to even start, this is what we always tell people when they come to our short course. And if you're thinking, I can't do all of that, where are we going to go? Just start with this. Whether you are a senior leader in a school that's never had a conversation about filtering before, or whether you're talking to your governors and saying you've got to get involved, just start with this. What's blocked, what's not, and the why is the big thing. If your answer to why is because the technician set it up like that, or because LGfL had the defaults like that 20 years ago, that's not really good enough. So it's not just for convenience or technical convenience. You need a strategic rationale for that, and it will be different in every school. As long as you have a conversation about it between SLT, technical team, safeguarding people, and document it, then don't worry about getting in trouble for it, but you do need to think through these things. Now, on our portal, so this is the School Protect web screen portal, you can see these red and blue things. You probably can't read the text. If you come along to our, one of our short courses, we'll go into a teeny bit more detail about it, but essentially to find out what's blocked and not, you can do by looking at your groups you will have in your schools. I know some of you know this, but some don't. You'll have different policy groups for either all staff and all pupils, or hopefully slightly more granular ones for the younger pupils or the older ones, depending on key stage, or staff that only work in an office with a computer children can never get to or not, that kind of thing. And there are a few different ways that you can check it for categories, bundles, and individual sites. So that's the kind of way you can start, before you start panicking, to think about what's blocked, what's not, and why. You do also need to talk to your technical teams about some of the more complex things, like for whom and when, time of day, exceptions, that kind of thing. But in a nutshell, it's kind of that. Standard number 4 was about monitoring. And monitoring is not the same as monitoring, and it's not the same as filtering. What does he mean, I hear you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Monitoring systems, like we've got a couple outside in the hall today, so Netsport are there in the Tech Village, and Securus are there as well, and Jim Fessy, give us a wave. The man over here is from the Co-op Academy Trust, and they've been using a monitoring tool from NetSweeper called OnGuard. So you've got 3 options you can go and talk to about monitoring. Within the standard, the 4th one, it does talk about the technical version of standard quite heavily, as well, of course, of monitoring your filtering, so kind of checking your reports and things like that. But it is really important that you understand the difference. On the first, the scrolling video of the web page I showed you at the start, safefiltering.lgfl.net, does talk about the difference between the two. They are 2 very different things. We don't have a monitoring service from LGfL at the minute, but we do hope to one day. But remember, for your filtering as well, you can run reports on it. We would suggest report on what are the key things that are blocked each time or not, that kind of stuff. But a few people have come to us and said, oh, can we have an alert every time something is blocked, please? Because they think that's what you need to do. No, 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 no. If you did that, you would have thousands a day, or maybe hundreds of thousands a day, depending on where you're at. So that's really not what the standards are asking you to do, so just in terms of not panicking. I think that's really key. Oh, look, I put that there as well. Good. There we go. We'll move on. Right, so they were the 4. We're going to hop back to what on earth is the difference between checks and annual review? Who can shout something out? It's toffee worthy, yes? I can't hear what you're saying, but yes. Yes, I think I'll say that was right. So it does talk about reviews and checks, and I think the lady down here said, oops, said that the reviews is like the annual strategic thing of how do we want this to work in general, and the checks are the regular operational day-to-day things. Now, had I had time, yesterday I wasn't just going to get rolls, I wanted to go to B&Q and buy you a big fat switch, like an oven switch, but I didn't have time. Because the key thing in terms of the checking is it still turned on or not? I'm not going to talk through this, but I just wanted to pop it up to show you that we've got this. This, again, is on that page. You can download things you need to think about first in terms of who's going to do the checks, that kind of thing. The reason for these checks came from a very sad case of a young lady who took her own life after looking for methods of doing so on a school iPad that wasn't connected to the filtering in whatever area of the country that was in. And if you needed reason to know why should we check things, that's one, because things are always changing in your school. You're always getting new bits of equipment, or someone is changing something, the internet changes, loads of reasons why you might want to check. So these are some of the key things. Essentially, is it on, and is it on everywhere, every account, every system, every platform, things like that. Now, this slide is not an eye test, but it is not designed for a presentation. It's designed for you to download off the page, and it gives you loads of ways that you can do some of these checks. So after you've made the decisions on page 1 about who is doing it, when and how often, and how it's documented, and where it's logged, and all of that, and what you want to find, here are some examples of things you can go click there, you'll see if safe search is on. Go click there, you'll see if YouTube is on the right mode that you want, and so on. Loads of them through there to support you as you come up with your checks. But really key part of that, though, is making sure you're getting feedback. So you will be starting, doubtless, to have meetings between technical teams and DSLs and the like, but you need to get feedback from all staff as well when you do your checks. People have asked how often. There is no official answer, but we would say maybe once a half term might be a good time to do it, because it doesn't need to be a massive thing. But you need feedback from all staff of, oh, did anyone notice that things were blocked that shouldn't be, or that pupils could get past the filtering? Because there's always someone cleverer than you think who can get through these things. But the key thing, that was my B&Q switch moment, was is it on or off? Everywhere is what you need to think about. These are more for reference, that if you want to find out more about YouTube and Safe Search, we've got guidance on that as well. Don't worry about writing it all down, because it's all on the website. But these are things that can form part of your checks and are really key, because in a way, Safe Search is more important than filtering, because if you haven't been suggested a dodgy site, you're not going to try and click on it in the first place. So what might we do? These are things that if you've been on one of the short courses, you'll know these slides as well. But you need a member of SLT who is responsible for filtering. And that was from the standards that came out in March. Now that KC says the DSL is responsible for it, you kind of know who your member of SLT is, but you could always have a second one as well if they're more technically minded to work together, and the governor as well. Roles and responsibilities are a really good way to start, because there's no point thinking about what's allowed, what's not, and why, and then deciding that actually it's someone else's responsibility to be part of that conversation. So you might want to do these first. If you want to take a picture of this slide, you've got about 10 seconds. I see some people fiddling with phones, although it is on the website as well. And then think about your reporting and checks as well. But the key thing, several people shouted out about overblocking at the beginning. That is so important. The new standards talk about unreasonably impacting teaching and learning. That's not the only reason you could be overblocking. It could be overblocking if your system is so unrealistic compared to what they get when they go home that it hasn't taught them what to do when you find something that scares you on the internet. There are good safeguarding reasons as well to not have it too strict, because then they go home and, well, you will know what happens then, don't you? But do be thinking about that every time, because it's really tempting to panic and block everything, but unfortunately, the internet will never be perfectly safe if it's turned on. That's kind of the way it is, but we are already so much safer than other things as well. So, to your other things that you can do, we've already talked about the online safety audit, actually, so I don't need to reference that again, but think about decryption for the next year. How many minutes have I got? Good. So think about decryption for the next year. We're going to be sending out some messaging over the next week or so, because that's something, and you'll be delighted if you're not a technical person. If you are a technical person, perhaps less so. That's something that you will need to ask your techies to do perhaps over the summer holidays. It's a good summer holiday task, if you wanted any tasks, because every device needs to have this thing called a certificate on it. So that's something to think about. But very briefly, I'll hop back, because you'll be thinking, yes, but what? Decryption. We have got a video, again, on the same website that explains what decryption is, because normally it sounds like a bad thing, doesn't it? If you read the newspapers, WhatsApp will say, don't decrypt us, or we're going to run away from the UK. But it's actually a very good thing in the context of our filtering. And we've got some slides that, because I've not got 2 hours, I haven't got time to talk to you about now, but you can get these slides and a video talking about how decryption helps you. I know you can't read it, don't worry. For example, in terms of reporting and filtering, without decryption, you have to do the whole website, like bbc.co.uk. But with decryption, you can both filter, so block or allow individual bits of it that come after the .co.uk, and you can also report on it, which can be really useful if you're investigating an incident, that kind of thing. Lots of people worry about, is it safe and secure? There are lots of reasons why, yes, it is. But if you just want to think about the purple bits, does it mean that LGfL or our technical team are going to see passwords, photos, things you type into boxes? No, it doesn't. It's got nothing to do with that. If you're using a monitoring system, that's a different matter, because then obviously you can if you're getting screenshots. So there's loads on that, but I would suggest think about it, talk about it, and definitely that's one where you cannot get through this without communicating between your tech team and your safeguarding team, because there's work to do there as well. But maybe you could install these certificates over the summer, which means when it comes along, you're ready for it. Okay, but lots of people have also been saying, is LGfL good enough? Because suddenly we're aware of these standards. I'm not going to bore you at the minute, although it's not boring. It's very exciting about how LGfL filtering is good enough. But we do have a section on that same page, but you can scroll straight through it if you go to appropriate.lgfl.net, where we give you a link to our document that we have to file a submission to the Safer Internet Centre to say, yes, we block those illegal sites, this, that, and the other, what our general rationale is, but also a bit more of a spiel on how it's compliant and helps you. But here's an easy question. If you're with LGfL and you have LGfL filtering, are you compliant with the standards? Yes. Who said no? Woo. Or better, not necessarily, because we do, you've got to list, I hope the video doesn't cut off there or it's going to look dodgy, isn't it? Because we do some stuff for you, but there's lots that you need to do as well, okay? We give you the systems, we give you the tools, like many other things, but there are certain things that you need to do yourself. So please do remember that. As I said at the beginning, this is the key page. If you want to relive this experience, otherwise grab me over lunch. But that everything you need to know, could ever want to know about filtering is there at safefiltering.lgfl.net. The wider picture, oh yeah, and the training. The wider picture was, oh, that was it. The wider picture was at kc.lgfl.net if you want to see some of the other changes as well. Some of them are really quite small but interesting teaching points, shall we say. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Have another one. There we go.
Thank you very much, Mark. Very sweet session, as you would say. Brilliant as ever. We're gathering sweets throughout the day, so if you've got one, you can. You're the lucky ones. So lovely, excellent, really good. So the last session before we break for some refreshments, really delighted to welcome our next speaker, who's just flown in from New York, on the other side of the pond, to be with us. He's an expert in robotics, in education, and previously the global master trainer for Lego. Rob Widger is the pre-sales director at Shape Robotics. He's here to showcase the Fable robot and to let you know about a very special opportunity for LGfL schools to take part in. A new pilot featuring Shape robotics technology. Rob, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Let's try and aim it for 7.5 minutes, because I know I'm seeing people starting to lag for their coffee, so we will get through this very quickly. Somebody just came up to our little stand over there. He actually asked if I won't throw it like the sweets were just thrown, but he just said, would I throw the robot to him? Come and see me later. No, I'm joking. I work for Shape Robotics. I am the pre-sales director. Yes, I have worked. I started teaching in 1992, and I was using robots until today. So I've used pre-made robots, construction kits. I'm going to give you a quick introduction to this. We are doing a seminar later, so come on and have a look. Got a couple of announcements, and one I literally found out about 2 minutes ago, and before I forget it, I'll announce it. Somebody came up and said, lovely product, how much is it? And then they went, ooh, because we are a premium product. We're a Danish company, and we're well built, okay? What I've just found out, literally 2 minutes ago, we are an official partner with Samsung Electronics. We are their robotics provider in education in about 19 countries. And I've literally just found out that if you add one of their devices, and in our workshop later, I will show you how their mobile phones and their tablets are used as part of our programming, you can get 3 years of finance with Samsung through our partner outside. So you can split the cost of purchasing robotics over 3 years. Why? Why is it a premium product? Because you can throw it around, and Bob's just cringed. It's magnetic. So any pieces that fall off, you just pick them up and you put them back on. So it is a strong piece of kit. Now, why am I up here in my rucksack? Before I start talking, we are a modular robotics company, which means if I'm doing a maths lesson or a coding lesson and I want to use one of my floor robots, I take the pieces out of my school bag, digging deep, take the pieces out. It takes longer to get them out of my school bag than it does to put them together. But if I want to do a coding lesson, if I want to do a maths lesson, maybe on measurement or trigonometry, I can pick my robot out my bag, and my robot's now ready to build. Built it in 10 seconds. When I worked for other companies, one of the things teachers fed back to us is, robotics is great, but if you spend 10 minutes or 20 minutes building, 10, 20 minutes packing away, I'm not focusing on my learning objectives for a coding lesson or a maths lesson or a science lesson. I can build this in seconds, and when I'm ready, I can pack it away. And that's what's key about our product. Yes, you can program in Blockly and Python, and you can add mobile phones, but you can build in seconds. And that's one of the nice features of what we do. So, is this what I'm using to click through? There we go. So, one of the things our company does do, and one of the things we do recognize, is that statistic up there for McKinsey, that 40%, 7% of jobs by 34 are going to be automated. Okay? That's quite a startling statistic. And then in my LinkedIn profile, just a couple of weeks ago, that particular picture came up. Drones have taken over where helicopters and pilots and cameramen were only 10 years ago. What we're trying to do at Shape Robotics, two things. Design content around real-world robotics and embrace other companies and other technologies that are already in our education market. So here's a particular one of a robot in a sewer. We get the children, give them context. We show them videos in 360 on VR headsets so they can embrace that technology in the workings that we do. We can go and explore sewers, and we are working with companies, certain VR companies, where we're working collaboratively to create content that relates to our robotics as well. And they go away and they design a robot to go and do what a real-world sewer robot does and clean all the fatbergs and fix all the trees that come through the pipes. And this particular robot that was built up there, you can see a funny attachment at the front. The children realised that to clean the fatbergs off the top of the pipe, they needed to come up with a slightly different design. And they designed an attachment on a 3D printer that then they could screw onto our robot arm, that could then clean the pipe. So we are working with VR companies and 3D print companies to design real-world robotic activities, okay? Just to say, and there's just, I didn't want to build them now, but I'll do so in my seminar, you can be as creative as you want. You can build big robots, small robots. We have a robot arm and we have a floor robot that I threw across the classroom. You can combine them to design whatever you like. The other big thing that's hot off the press literally yesterday morning is we've got a new AI app. Because one of the things that we do across the world, we install smart labs. We've just installed 1,000 in Romania, and we don't have enough trainers to go out and run workshops. They've created an AI app, and please come to our stand to have a look at it, where we've actually built it. We've bought big processors. We're running it in-house, where all our content can be accessed before the AI app goes out onto the net. And that is here, ready to look at. It'll be launched in a few weeks' time as well on the market, okay? So that's what you'll see. Lots of educational content, using AI, using text-to-speech, and augmented reality as well. And what we're doing there, just to flick through, because I've got a little saying we're nearly 7 minutes, just to show you a quick video of what appeared in the press recently. I apologise because I grabbed it before they corrected a spelling mistake. So big prize for anyone that spots a spelling mistake there. But I did want to show it. Yes, there is a video of me. I'm really sorry about that. But this has been launched literally as a beta now to show you today. There was sound, but it's just cheesy music, so we don't need to. This is aimed at students, but also teachers as well, because obviously, you know, I was a robotics teacher at elementary. When I started teaching secondary, not in this country, but abroad, I wish I'd had that when I was teaching certain subjects. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we're not limited just to robotics. We're also looking at VR, 3D printing as well. I've got 1 minute to go. The other thing to say is that we are working together with LGfL on a pilot project. QR code is up there, where we are donating, giving, I'm looking down, yeah, donating a number of sets. We don't want them back, because we want you to continue using them in your classrooms, where we want you to have a look at real-world solution, robotics, and also it'd be really great if, because this is new, you started giving us feedback on this new app as well. Because we are a young company, and our designers and our programmers, they do listen. So that's the other thing I like about working for this company. When you guys come up with ideas, we try to implement them as well. That's it. Thank you very much. Coffee time.
Thank you very much, Rob. Absolutely. Really interesting. And Bob's face when that flew across the stage was a picture, I have to say. So before we do go to the coffee break, just to let you know that Rob's session on the program, seminar program, is 1:45 in the pink room this afternoon. So do please get along and engage with that one. So thank you to all our presenters through the morning. We haven't finished yet. There's lots more to go. And I hope, like me, you've got lots out of this, lots of insights and information that are going to be useful for you back in your education settings. So after the coffee break, the seminar sessions start. And please check the rooms for the allocation of your seminar sessions 1 to 3, as there's only a 5-minute changeover time between each of these. Please also visit our colleagues in the Tech Village out there, because I'm sure you want to do that. Grab yourself a tea and a coffee and whatever else is there. And lunch will be at 12:40 p.m. After the last seminar session. You're welcome to use the conference rooms to eat your lunches in. and we'll see you back here a bit later on this afternoon. But folks, go out and have a well-deserved cuppa and a chat, some networking. Off you go, enjoy.